Greg Dyke has set England's performance targets for the next decade. The semi-finals of Euro 2020 and victory at the Qatar World Cup in 2022. Controversial comments, but from Wednesday, September 4th, 2013, in a lengthy and wide-ranging speech, Dyke laid out his vision for the future. And whilst the central theme of his speech was addressing the frightening trend of the reduction in the number of English players in the Premier League, he has also set the bar very high for the standard by which England need to be measured. The two targets I have for the England team are: one, to at least reach the semi-finals of Euro 2020, said Dyke. Two, win the World Cup in 2022. But the new Football Association chairman warned that international success was in danger of citing that just 32% of Premier League regulars were qualified to play for England last season, a record low, and called on the national game to find a solution in order to help its country prosper. The issue, quite simply, is this: in the future, it's quite possible we won't have enough players qualified to play for England who are playing regularly at the highest level in this country or elsewhere in the world, said Dyke. As a result, it could well mean England's teams are unable to compete seriously on the world stage. Now, interesting comments. The Premier League does have, on a personal note, it does have way too many foreign players. But part of the problem is the fact that English players are so overpriced. That's part of the problem. And also, the fact is, if you want to change this, you're going to have to change the mentality of clubs, where clubs are looking to buy their way to success, buy their way up the ladder. You got Man City, Chelsea, United, Tottenham, Liverpool, trying to compete with each other. Football's not about developing the game. It's about the money. Clubs are about how much money can we make. Especially chairmen and owners are about how much money can we make. How much money are we making? How much money are we losing? Not, how well are our players doing? It's all about this. What about the money? Huh? It's all about that. It's all about that. So, but the thing is, also with this, you've got the powers that be kind of sending mixed messages, because Greg Dyke is saying that there's a frightening trend in terms of the reduction of the number of English players playing in the Premier League regularly, but then he's setting targets of the semi-finals of Euro 2020 at least, and victory in 2022. You can't send out that sort of message and set the bar that high, but then at the same time bemoan the fact that there's hardly any English players playing. Because at the end of the day, you're kind of setting it up for failure. You're setting targets that are too high. And it's weird because it's almost an oxymoron. He's saying that, our targets are 20 semi-finals at Euro 2020 and victory at the Qatar World Cup. But then you're complaining about a dearth of English talent. If you're complaining about a dearth of English talent, don't set such a high bar, because you need to focus. Instead of setting targets that's just going to put pressure on the next generation of England players, what you should be doing is looking at why there's such a reduction in English players playing regularly in the Premier League. This is part of the reason why I don't get the powers that be in this country in regards to developing young players. There are a lot of young players who are not getting chances, but Greg Dyke didn't say. I think he should have said, you know what, the onus is on the clubs. The clubs have to start giving young players chances, and especially English players chances. Rio Ferdinand, I'm not a fan of personally, because he does like to pick his battles in terms of what he says and when he says it. But he's kind of got a point where he's saying having so few English players in the Premier League diminishes the England team, because them players who we're looking to rely on to win World Cups are not playing regularly for their club sides. And if they're not playing regularly for the top club sides, then how are they going to compete against the top players in Europe? That's the problem that needs to be addressed. I think Greg Dyke, I understand why he's setting those targets, but at the same time, you need to, instead of setting such high bars, you need to really look at the reasons behind it. It's all good people coming out and saying, oh yeah, there's a problem, but there needs to be some sort of there needs to be I mean, this is why St. George's Park is so important. It's going to be crucial that the FA has a plan and a solid plan. But the fact of the matter is, as I said, the onus is on the clubs. It's all good developing players at St. George's Park and developing great players, but if they're not getting the chance to shine, then how are they ever going to learn? How are they ever going to develop? And how basically how are they going to get better? That would be my problem with it. So, I mean, Gman, what do you reckon before we throw it out the Skypers?
Oh, you know what I gotta say? I think that's terrible what you're saying. Yeah. No, in terms of Greg Dyke's setting those standards, yeah, I reckon the bar needs to be set out. I'm quite pleased that he's been quite transparent with what he wants and what he expects in the future, and I think that's something that the FA should continue doing, because I think, you know, you need to set those bars. If you sit back and you don't say anything, but you just keep spitting out, you know, have too many foreigners, you're not helping part of the problem. You're setting a bar for, you know, clubs, managers, and whoever to reach that standard and get those players to reach that standard, to know, like, you know, when we're going to the 22 World Cup, we're expected to win it. You need that sort of attitude. This
has always been the problem with England. We've expected us to be world beaters, and we're not developing our own talent.
But you know, the root problem isn't just with the FA. The root problem, yeah, is with the Premier League. Yeah. That my issue is with the Premier League, because the Premier League, to me, yeah, what is their agenda? Their agenda is to look like the best league in the world. So that means
money, really.
To make money. That means it's like they're letting any and everybody come within their league, yeah, you know, exploit it, throwing money about, buying players, you know. We just had a conversation about Mesut Ozil. We had conversations about the price tags on certain players like the Rio Ferdinands in the past and the Wayne Rooneys, about English players being overpriced, the price tag put on Luis Suarez, you know. Yeah, the Premier League, to me, when you look at the Premier League, all I see is money. I don't really see a league that's concentrating on trying to produce the best English talent. I don't even see a league that's concentrating on trying to get the best talent in this country to come over and play, because there's a lot of average players coming over here and playing football at a lot of average clubs, yeah, and getting highly paid for it, just like there's a lot of average English players playing in the highest clubs as well and getting paid as well. There's a lot of average for instance, look at Manchester City with the way they invested, yeah, and they brought the James Milners, the Barrys into the club. They grabbed the Samir Nasris, they grabbed the Torres and players like that. You know, they just bundled a load of players together. You know, they're not like Real Madrid, where you can say, rah, they're literally building a team of Galacticos. You know, they're just building a team of anybody they can find, filter them out next season, buy whoever they can find, filter them out. You know, they got loads of players sitting on the bench that potentially could play for England or the whatever other national team, yeah. And that's the sort of mentality that is in harnessing in all football clubs in England. That's what I feel personally. You know, even I would say at Arsenal, who are trying to produce a youth squad system, it's the same things with the youth squad system, where we got where there was like over 13, 14 young players that were just, you know, let go. You know, those big turnovers, all right, there are small margins of making it into the top league, but those small turnovers, you know, 13, 14 players got let go. One player comes in for 42 million. Something's rotten and loose from there when you're looking at the logics. Gareth Bale going to Real Madrid, you know. But I'm drawing it back to the point, yeah. The issue at hand is, you know, a lot of talent over here are not as good as people make them out to be. Yeah. This is why I have my issues with St. George's Park, because I don't think it's just St. George's Park that needs to create and develop this amount of football. It's about creating and developing the minds of the next generation of managers to think we are going to invest in the English youth. Because a lot of English managers are looking at, and managers from around the world, when they come over to England, the managers, they're looking at what best little players we can get from around the world for cheap prices, or, you know, get the next Ronaldo, get the next Rooney from Kenya, get the next, Kanu from Nigeria, whatever, yeah? That's how they're thinking. They need to be developed in thinking, look, let's get the youth and bring the youth through from this country rather than spending our money on, players from across the continents, across the world.
I'm agreeing with you.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm agreeing with you. The Premier League is all about the money and the clubs. But the Premier League needs to be active in terms of, if the FA want to throw out these sort of targets, then it's got to be in cooperation with the Premier League. Because the owners should be on the Premier League and the Premier League clubs to be bringing homegrown talent through, but it's not. This is the thing with the football association
by setting a bar, you're giving managers a level to raise to. You're giving clubs a level to raise to.
Why do they have to care? Someone like, say, Arsene Wenger ain't going to give a damn about the English.
But hopefully this is what
Jose Mourinho is not going to give a damn.
This is the point. Hopefully,
and why should they?
Hopefully, this is what St George's Park is all about. It's about breeding the next mind of manager, breeding the next mind of owner, breeding the next like having the Steven Gerrards, the Carragers, rather than running straight into TV and doing punditry, coming back into the game because they know what's needed in the game.
Yeah, but if that homegrown talent is not being given a chance because the FA are thinking here and the Premier League are thinking here, then you're doomed to fail. For me, in my mind, you're pretty much doomed to fail because the Premier League's all about the money. The FA look like they're trying to be all about developing talent, and there's no synergy there. There's got to be some sort of synergy. This is why I'm saying that Greg Dyke, his targets, I don't agree with coming out with it publicly, because there's in what he said, there's no reason for foreign managers to give it that. There's no reasons built in there for Arsene Wenger, for Mourinho or other managers to really give a damn. It's like what John Sitton, you've seen the videos with what's it, World of Sport, what John Sitton was talking about Arsene Wenger doesn't look at a player's passport. Maybe he needs to. And that's quoting John Sitton on that one. At the end of the day, obviously Wenger had. But I'm not just singling out Arsene Wenger. I'm saying foreign managers. Why would they give a damn about our national team?
Listen. The thing about some of these foreign managers that do get the stick of the brunt, they are bringing some top quality players through.
Yeah, no.
They are bringing some top quality players through. At the end of the day, a big fact.
It's not enough homegrown talent that's being brought.
Wait. Another problem of homegrown talent is, just look at Spain. Why is it that Spanish players are moving across the world? Why is it that Brazilian players move across the world? German players are moving across the world, but English players ain't moving across the world? Why is it?
Probably because they're not good enough.
They're not good enough.
Yeah, but it's one of them.
They're not good enough.
But you've got to look at why they're not good enough.
But what? Wait.
If most of those players are not playing in their domestic leagues, then how are they ever going to become good enough?
Yeah, but players that are good rise to the top. Players that are good rise to the top.
Not always.
Players that are good rise to the top.
Not always. Because at the end of the day, if you don't get a chance to show how good you are, how are we going to know you're good?
Wait, you're in a if you're no, that's a good point. That's a good point.
That's where I'm going.
That's a good point.
That's where I'm going with it. But it's one of them ones. The cream always rises to the top. Maybe not. That's the thing where I'm going for it.
Let's put that out there.
Yeah, you know what? Let's pull it out. Let's pull it out for the Skypers. To the Skypers. I know Jaymie Bailey, you wanted to jump in on this, so you can have at it first, man.
All right. I work at. We've got fans from. We support Liverpool, Arsenal, Stevenage Borough, Southend United. All of these different teams support are on Pitch Talk tonight. Please tell me how, Gman. Please tell me how you. It's a sense of notion. What Liam said. If you don't put them in the top tier, they ain't gonna get better. It's as simple as that. I work at QPR. I work at Fulham. We are known as a family club. Look at Chelsea. They've gone and brought out a world of talent that's not even English.
I mean, you know what? I'm going to retract. I'm going to take back something, because I'm seeing Italian, French. I'm seeing what's it called? I'm seeing Spanish players playing in the second division of Spain coming over to this country. You know what?
And they're getting jumped ahead of the domestic.
Precisely.
Players.
So that I'm saying that's ridiculous. Why?
I'm agreeing with you.
Why are they? Why is it not the same for English players to do the same, going from the Championship, moving over to
I'll tell you
moving
why.
over to France,
No, you want
moving over to Germany.
to apply your trade in your home country.
No, I'll tell you why, Liam. Because it is us as coaches that don't get the opportunity to coach them at the top level. So when we find them at grassroots level, then they get shifted onto a foreign coach. Then they get shifted onto another foreign coach, and then like Bale, they become one of the world's most expensive players for stupid money. Why? Because when they were at the local level, we were shifted aside. So when we found them, we weren't known. So those English managers or English coaches or Welsh coaches or Irish coaches or Scottish coaches, they were just shifted aside. Now we've got people like Jose Mourinho, who so happens to be at the top of the tree when it comes to the coaches, and now can say, "Oh, I produced that player." Arsene Wenger, the same thing. "Oh, I produced that player." People like Steve Bold, he's not going to get the recognition, even though he's English. People like Nigel Winterburn, he's not joined the coaching scene. All of these, and Gary Neville said it himself. There is no point in me going into a coaching role and right straight away with my badges because I've not got the experience. For the simple fact that he said that made me want to respect him a bit more as a coach. As a player, still hating him, always will. But I will say this: if there's coaches like me who would rather be known as an English coach on the national payroll, then I would rather do that. But I'd rather just go to Ireland or go to America and be known as an American coach or an Irish coach by nationality. Why? Because I'm probably going to find players like James McClean, players like Roy Keane, players like this and that, who will actually give me the chance to produce better at a higher level. And I won't get that opportunity at Arsenal. I won't get that opportunity at Chelsea. I won't get that opportunity at Manchester United. And even if I do find the players, they're just going to say, "Oh, we found the players. We found them. He's been playing for our club for so long. We found him before he even played at local roots. Nah, we found him. So therefore, we're going to take all the cuts. We're going to take all the money, the agent fees and all of this." And when he gets to that certain level, he's not good enough now. He's only English. He's not going to make it any further. We thought he was, but then, yeah, we'll just sell him on, see where he goes. That's what the problem is in English football. They are being brought over. They're not being brought up to the next level because there's no coaches in this country that is being given the opportunity. Hence the reason why Greg Dyke put Brentford back on the map, number one, and number two has now said that England must perform to their best ability. Because if they're only playing for the money or playing or not even playing for the shirt, then there's no point in them even trying to win, make a target. There's no point in making that target. So that's the reason why I agree with that target. It makes sense for the fact that in 10 years' time, if England hasn't progressed, then he might as well just say that there's no point in even having an FA.
Gman, you want to jump in on this? No, and we've also got some stuff on the socials as well. Don't?
Look, again, I want to repeat, just like what Liam said. There's many factors to why England are just not producing the goods that, well, some would say supposedly they need to produce, and others would say they don't. Technically, they're not the best team in there to be producing. However, again, I want to repeat. Just look at the top tier of the English football. Look at the top players. How many of them are playing abroad? Steven Gerrard, Lampard. How many of them have played abroad? You know, that is a big factor. You have to look at it, yeah, and say, you know, a lot of these players, yeah, who potentially could be playing abroad because they're of that quality, they're not. Theo Walcott's, Steven Gerrard's, Lampard, Rio Ferdinand when he was playing, Cahill's, players like that. These players potentially could be playing abroad, but they're not. And don't put it on price tags. Don't put it on price tags because there are Italian players getting bought for the sorts of monies that Gareth Bale's were back in the days. You know, Zidane was getting bought for 40 million and moving across countries. Those moves have been happening within the continent, but it just seems like English players are just stagnated in one area. You know. and that's the British Isles sort of area. Yeah, and not moving. So there is no progression. Every other club is mixing and mingling with each national nation, coming to England, picking up a great pay packet. Yeah, but it just seems like England is just like throw money at everyone, even our own, but no one's progressing apart from those that are coming over across the seas.
All right. I'll ask you this before we throw it out to the socials. I'll ask you this. Why should English players go abroad for an opportunity? Why can't homegrown English players get an opportunity here?
To personally, from my savvy, to pick basically, having read some of Arsene Wenger's autobiography, unofficial autobiography, yeah, it's like players will pick up so much knowledge moving country. I'm sure Jaymie Bailey will say this, yeah, like if he was to move abroad and do coaching in different countries, he will pick up so much knowledge, wealth of knowledge. Managers do it. They pick up a wealth of knowledge. It's just moving from different countries. They learn different things, different skill sets. They learn about different players, different cultures. For me, it could be a humbling factor that could bring players together, moving across the seas, learning from a Brazilian culture, learning from a Spanish culture, learning from a French culture, coming back together, regrouping, sharing this knowledge, implementing new tactics instead of the same stale old tactics, 4-4-2, or now it's the implementing.
But that sounds like you're just talking about coaches as opposed to players.
No, players, coaches are doing it. Players need to do it. In my eyes, players need to do it.
All right, but why? But it's I can understand what you're saying in terms of moving abroad. But why can't English players? Why can't they have the opportunity in their home territory? You look at Spanish players. You look at Real Madrid and Barcelona, top two teams over there. Even teams like Villarreal. A lot of them have got a lot of Spanish players within their sides. Why can't that, and why doesn't it happen here? Why should you have to move abroad to get an opportunity that you really should get on your home turf?
Because
you're not because of the influx of foreign players.
For the normal human being, yeah, for the normal human being that doesn't play football, who's out there, if you sit on your bum, yeah, and wait for an opportunity, it's not going to come and find you.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
True.
You got to go out there
a lot of English players are working hard, but a cheaper foreign alternative comes in and they get the opportunity over it.
So they're working hard and they're doing well for the club. It's either you're working hard, you're doing well for the club, and you're satisfied with that sort of life, and you're picking up a great pay package, or you want to do what Rowan Ricketts has done, yeah, moving countries and trying to get as much
with Owen Hargreaves,
trying to get as much football as possible, not just sitting on the bench, trying to be a first team starter wherever he goes. Like, that's the sort of attitude you need to breed in certain players, or you're just gonna. I'm not saying this is the only factor. I'm just saying it just seems like English players are stagnated. They know each other. It's the party life. We all know each other from different areas. There's no real growth there. Once you know that David Beckham is the top player, you know you ain't reaching David Beckham's top player sort of thing. David Beckham, he went on leaps and bounds. Look at him as a player. He went on leaps and bounds, moved across seas, made his name in different places, elevated himself as a player and as a personnel in the footballing game.
So you're saying that our players. So you're saying basically that our players need to be moving abroad to get the opportunities that they should be getting here.
Well, yeah, I reckon whereas a lot of the top players should be moving abroad. It's freeing up some of that space for new talents to come and take their place as England heroes, and that's what happens. Like, top players move, new players come up, top players move, new players come up, because it's it's the way the league structured. Yeah. The league now is set in stone where it's always going to have foreign players coming over, and that's what the foreign player structure is. Foreign players come over, make a name for themselves, move to a bigger club, or move to another nation, or move wherever else for the money. Like, that's what it seems like. And the influx of players is getting higher and higher and squeezing out English players. So for me, English players need to just. I feel personally, some of them, not all of them, because some of them, like you said, not getting the opportunities, but some of them who can need to start moving abroad. And maybe this could help the English football team as a nation and the way they think and how they play together, because it's about hunger.
Yeah. It's one of I still feel that
I'm not a coach. I don't know nothing, so don't take my word for it.
I still feel that a lot of English players should be getting more opportunities here domestically rather than having to move. But